For those of you keeping score at home, it was a cable issue. It turns out that Microsoft is truly a software company. So, confusion. My name is Sean Patterson, and I'm co-founder of a new kind of organization that does headhunting for startups, matchmaking, if you will, between startups and investors all over the world. And I'm also head of strategy at Your Digital Partners, which is a startup-focused digital marketing company. So with that, I wanted to talk today a little bit about what's going on with the startup ecosystem in Europe. I'm very interested in three areas. And I think these three areas are the ones that I'm kind of focusing on 2018. So I'm sure you all have your ideas. Mine are Fintech, artificial intelligence, and I'm also thinking about ecosystems. And I know from speaking with many of the people in this room, and now I've spoken with many of you quite a long time, thanks to this extended break, that the bulk of investing seems to be with scalable software as a service offerings. And I appreciate that trend, but I want to look a little deeper and discuss some of the emerging trends I see here in Europe. Now, I admit I'm a little bit biased. Since moving to Prague, I've spent the last 3 years working in Fintech. So whether it be payments, personal investing, lending, or other areas, I'm absolutely convinced that finance is still a field ripe for development. The second quarter of 2018 saw a global record of $20.34 billion in equity funding across 383 deals. And indeed, we're on track to see another record in 2018. Now, specific to Europe, Fintech VC-backed equity funding in Q2 2018 reached $852 million in Europe across 72 deals. Still, when you consider that there are 2,265 VCs registered with Crunchbase in the EU alone, you can see that there's plenty of money to chase great ideas. And I think that now is a wonderful time to be an innovative startup that can execute. Emphasis on execute. We can observe some interesting developments in Fintech. One trend I'd point out in Fintech is startups helping other startups. And in this area, we can look at companies like Brex and Divvy as two such leaders. And there exists opportunity also in Europe to do the same. Those two companies are primarily American, but indeed, Aprilia in Norway and Pleo in Denmark are leading the way. But I'd really love to see something coming out of this region, specializing in CEE. And no doubt, I expect to see more diversified offerings in Fintech. We can also expect to see more omni-channel strategies. There exists some opportunity, I think, even in this market, to combine debit cards with credit cards, with multi-currency accounts and investment accounts. In the blockchain, last quarter saw a strong $633 million in VC-backed investment globally, although this still pales in comparison to ICO fundraising. This tells us that VCs are, unsurprisingly, not interested in the level of risk that ICO-funded blockchain firms can offer. Still, there's no doubt in my mind that legitimate startups, again, emphasis on legitimate startups, focused on the blockchain, can make some meaningful contributions to the Fintech community. Indeed, M&A activity in the crypto space is doing well, and it suggests that not all crypto firms are headed to the graveyard. Now, combining cryptocurrency and Fintech seems to be an emerging trend, and Revolut saw their user base double after they began accepting cryptocurrency. Robinhood increased their user base by 1/3 to 4 million users after targeting cryptocurrency holders. And for those bank replacements that are truly successful, the banking giants are continuing to pick off fintechs that find a hole in the marketplace. So another funding option, of course, is corporate venture capital, which some of you may be considering. And that's looking up, comprised 36% of European VC-backed fintech investment. And there looks to be a backlog of IPOs in the fintech space as well. The first half of 2018 saw 7 IPOs, which was the highest number of any half since 2013. Now I want to move on and transition to my other love, which is artificial intelligence. I would note that there are just a small handful of like general AI startups, firms like Vicarious and Kindred. And indeed, AI firms aim to solve a specific problem. For this reason, we now see companies that are claiming they're the new AI for X. That is, let's take a look at a few examples. Intelligent X in UK wants to bring the first AI brewed beer. I'm not sure. I have to admit I'm not really sure how that's going to go over in beer-loving Czech Republic, where there seems to be an appreciation for handcrafted brew. But that is certainly not the only place where we can look for some interesting developments in AI. Deep Fish in Russia wants to be the first to use neural networks to locate fish. Clickstep of Sweden, another brilliant name, is bringing deep learning behavioral analysis to horses. I'm not sure if they'll kick back, but certainly that's going on. We can look to an American company making use for made-to-order hair care products. Indeed, Pros is proving that there's almost no bald spot for AI development. And for those looking for a relaxing evening, AI for cannabis is well on its way. I think it will prove very successful in this room. Deep Green is using the best weed. And okay, I just want to say that I didn't verify that they are a better solution, but I'm sure you'll all have the opportunity there, especially future trips to Amsterdam. So personally, I have to say I'm pretty excited about AI for HR tech because it's going to increase hiring quality and employee satisfaction. Now, despite my excitement for AI, I'm not really sure that it's shared by everyone in this room. Indeed, AI-related funding, equity funding in the US was something like 38% of the market. In China, it was 48%, and the rest of the world saw only 13%. So Europe is lagging behind in this area. AI is, by the way, starting to drive a new type of platform, and that's called AI-infused expert automation and augmentation software, or EASE. And these platforms are going to usher in a new era of AI-assisted, AI-enhanced productivity. And that's really going to make a fundamental difference in traditionally manual labor industries like legal, computer programming, teaching, and language coaching. Larger players are starting to make waves with AI as well. Apple's A11 chip has a sort of neural engine built into it, and Tesla is making use of AI in its autopilot strategy with the self-driving car phenomenon. And that's to say, of course, nothing for like other applications. Companies like AI or like Intel are working on the Myriad X platform, which is aiming to bring AI, to wider applications. Now, I'm also researching a new development called capsule networks, which offers the promise of less programming than current offerings. And that's really important because the thing about AI, as one of the earlier competitors alluded to, is that it's not cheap. $500,000 salaries, if you can believe this, are now starting to appear in lucrative markets like China. $500,000. A Tencent report, in fact, pointed out that there are only about 300,000 AI engineers in the world, and companies need about 1 million. So you can see that the demand for these types of AI engineers is far outpacing the supply. DeepMind Technologies, which is a Google subsidiary, is paying its staff an average, and I actually verified this, of $350,000 per annum. And this could make AI specialists in CEE, I think, more attractive to Western firms. So if CEE can capitalize on this need, it would be a great benefit to VCs and startups in the region. Great AI talent is starting to bleed from the larger firms in search of startup funding. So VC can really play a role in the AI segment as the founders start to find that equity funding. Now, 2017 saw global funding for AI startups jump 141% year over year to $15.2 billion. Now, to give you some perspective, in 2013, the global total was a mere $1.74 billion. So we're seeing an immense growth in this area. And at some point in the next few years, we will not be able to separate machine learning applications from like today's regular algorithms. I actually think that the expectation will be that some form of AI is inclusive in all new products. So AI will be ubiquitous, whether investors and founders in CEE realize it or not. This is partly the result of an increasing number of AI-based open source projects. Already, Google is promoting an artificial intelligence yourself project, which is a sort of DIY artificial intelligence that any programmer can use off the shelf to develop applications ranging from voice recognition to facial expression recognition, and all with relatively little programming know-how. And around 42% of AI companies acquired since 2013 have had VC backing. So those are my thoughts on a couple of the most interesting investment areas right now for me. But to cover the third one, the thing is, like, the Czech Republic, we still haven't really created our first unicorn. And I think that's not just because we're a long way from Silicon Valley in geography, but I think it's because we're a long way from developing the ecosystem needed to support it. Now, indeed, VCs haven't had the unicorns to invest in. That's true, but I've asked around, and it seems like there are a few things lacking here. Many smaller ecosystems have a healthy density of early-stage startups, but they're lacking a concentration of late-stage companies. And Prague and other places in CEE lack a late-stage ecosystem. So it's really hard to do some seriously large fundraising rounds here. And it comes from a combination of geographic issues, yes, but of course, also from education and talent shortages, as well as a dearth of government support and general lack of awareness about what it takes to get that billion-dollar IPO off the ground. So if you've never been involved in producing a unicorn, it's an awfully difficult thing to do the first time. Now, I'm not saying that the Czech Republic and CE is never going to be a world leader in startups. Actually, I do think there's hope. But I want to encourage everyone here, and this is to borrow off Elena's fantastic presentation. Since I can't deliver an accent as good as hers, it's never going to happen in my entire life. What I can tell you is to, and reiterate, go out, find what it is that you love, and make it a reality. Bring it to the Czech Republic. I know Alina wanted to have some feedback about what makes the Czech Republic and Prague a great place to invest and a great place to do startups. So in an effort to conserve time, I'm not going to open it up to the floor, but I would really love it if you'd get in touch with her later and provide some feedback in that area. So I want to thank you for your attention for these few moments, and feel free to reach out to me at the addresses above. Thank you.